Hey, what's up everybody, Kendrick here. In this video today, I wanted to talk about my current plans that I've got for both of my channels, YouTube and Twitch, most importantly. Now, before we get to the nitty-gritty though, I really wanted to say thank you so much for consistently watching my content. It means a lot to me because I'm basically doing this for you guys, right? So if there wasn't an audience who would drop a few words every now and then and provide me with some constructive criticism, it probably would feel very dull and very one-sided and very boring as well. I'm not sure if I would be doing it if I didn't have such an amazing audience like yourselves. So thank you so much for the consistent viewership and for the consistent support. I really do appreciate that. It is very hard to describe how good it feels when there are people who share your passion and who love the things you truly enjoy as much as you do yourself. In my case, that is of course video games and Blizzard franchises in particular, because I've been hooked to Blizzard for many years. I've been playing all of their games, Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, the early ones even in the 90s, World of Warcraft. So I've always had a very special relationship with Blizzard titles in particular. So about 2 years ago, I started making my very first Heroes of the Storm videos on YouTube, and truth be told, that is a long time, or it feels like a long time to me, because I recently, I browsed through my video history on YouTube and I took a look at some of the very first videos I ever made, which weren't actually about Heroes of the Storm, but I started off back in the days when Hearthstone was like super new in the market. And yeah, you can really tell that videos have changed. I have changed the way I talk on camera, the way I behave on camera, the way I improved my own editing skills. At least I hope you could see an improvement over the years and months. It's quite an amazing journey what we've been on so far. And by the same token, I started live streaming on Twitch on a rather irregular basis first, right? So I went to university and I had a side job all the time, and I couldn't really afford to maintain a regular streaming schedule because simply there wasn't enough money otherwise, or there wouldn't have been enough money otherwise, and I didn't have the equipment, yada yada. Long story short, like back then I really saw creating content as a mere hobby, and I never even expected that this would become my full-time job, which it is right now. I'm pretty sure some of you might have not noticed or realized, but I'm basically doing YouTube, esports events, and most importantly Twitch live streaming as a full-time job right now, and I've been enjoying myself ever since, and I do not regret making this decision like half a year ago. So September 2016 really was the turning point in my life, with a couple of incredible chances and opportunities to cast and host major Heroes of the Storm tournaments like, Katowice. We had several DreamHacks in Valencia and tours. Then I was even invited to do the Summer Championship of HGC last year at Gamescom, which was up to this day probably one of my most incredible experiences as an esports host slash caster. Very thankful and very grateful for this opportunity still. So big shout out to everybody who has been, cheering for me during those events and who's been watching those events and who also dropped some feedback on those events, because I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, my performance, especially in the beginning, wasn't always very satisfying, right? And I constantly try to improve and grow as an esports personality, as well as a content creator. So please keep shooting that good constructive criticism towards me, and I feel very thankful for that as well. But back to the first gigs, like back then I had to make a big decision basically. It was to either continue what I had been doing part-time, which was, making a video every now and then, doing a live stream every now and then, or was it to quit my job at my former high school, which, I've been working as a teacher there, doing after-school care and a lot of the afternoon supervision there, helping out normal teachers in their jobs and yada yada. And it got very stressful and also conflicted my other plans often because, during the mornings, during the afternoons, I wasn't really home. I couldn't prepare anything for the streams, for the upcoming streams or videos. So whenever I came home, I was like rushing to the computer immediately, trying to catch up as much as I could. So I had to make the decision, maintain my school career or focus on my one true passion, which was, like, I'm not going to say that teaching was my passion. I really, really do enjoy teaching still, doing private lessons, for example. But my even bigger passion, my one true passion of all time was, gaming and creating content about gaming and sharing this passion with you guys out there as well. So yeah, ever since that day, I made the decision to basically make YouTube and Twitch my living career, and as I said earlier, I haven't regretted that decision once. So for 2017 though, so basically I decided that it was time to take my dedication and my commitment to the next level. So I've got a lot of plans and a lot of goals in my mind that I really want to make come true in this upcoming year. One of them would be to bring you guys more Heroes of the Storm content, namely the Heroes Chop Shop, a podcast in which we invent new imaginary heroes that are not really in the game just yet. And a lot of you guys have been asking me, like, Kendrick, when do you bring back the Heroes Chop Shop? We really thoroughly enjoyed the concept, and unfortunately I had to scratch the Heroes Chop Shop because I had to focus on other things. And now I think for 2017 it could be the time to actually revive it and resurrect it. However, as I said earlier, those shows require an immense amount of time. I need to find casting members. In that case, I actually had to very supportive casting members, but we still had to organize ourselves, merging our schedules accordingly, so we would all find a day when to get going. Also, the overlays need to be prepared. I actually contacted an artist earlier who I paid for those overlays as well. So, all these things, in order to make them look good on stream and to make them look good on YouTube, they require an immense amount of time and sometimes actually a quite significant amount of money as well, because I'm not a, spot-on perfect graphics artist. I can do simple overlays, but I'm not a designer. I could not be one. So yeah, long story short, shows like the Heroes Chop Shop, they cost me a lot of time, and actually they also cost me quite a bit of money, especially in the beginning stages when you have to take care of overlays and concepts and effects and all that jazz. And I basically was also forced to stop the podcast because I didn't have the time necessary. I mean, sure, I did have the time, but in the end the show didn't generate any money, obviously, because it was free content on YouTube, right? And there was a point at which I had to decide, okay, so I'm doing this for a full living now, and the show unfortunately doesn't really drop a lot of money to me, so I'm basically just doing it for the funs and giggles. And in the end, I realized that I had to basically just cancel it because I could achieve more useful things while streaming or while doing, esports things and other gigs that would actually be more, profitable. So to compensate the lack of profit that these shows and projects create, at least for now, who knows how much they will grow in the near future, I recently started a Patreon page, and I know a lot of guys are kind of reserved and they have their prejudices about Patreons, but to me it is really a nice opportunity for the community to show additional support, because a lot of people, believe it or not, they actually approached me on stream, or they sent me private messages on my Discord server or on Twitch using their PMs, and they asked me, like, Kendrick, is there anything we can do to sort of help you out a little bit aside from subbing to your Twitch channel or aside from dropping a tip every now and then? And I always responded, no, that's totally fine. Like, everything you do is more than sufficient. But some people actually suggested the idea that I should do a Patreon, and I think Patreon is a legitimate way to support the content producers and the content creators out there that you really enjoy to watch. So I was like, after a little bit of hesitation, I could have done that like way earlier, but after a little bit of hesitation, I was like, yeah, sure, let's give it a try. And I would like to thank everybody who kind of, reaffirmed my own resolve there positively and saying, no, Kendrick, go for it. There's nothing shady about it. There's nothing to be ashamed of. So one thing that I really want to highlight on the Patreon here for this year is that it's by no means mandatory. You don't have to do that. You don't have to have a bad conscience for not doing it for whatever reason. I won't think bad of anyone who says, nope, Patreon is not my thing, because that's totally fine. It's absolutely not mandatory. It's all voluntary. It's simply just an optional way of supporting me if you have a little bit of coin left. That's basically all there is to say about it, especially if you like the YouTube videos and you like the Twitch streams that I do on a regular basis. So my ultimate goal for 2017 is to make this the first year of me being a freelance full-time content creator, backed by a wonderful community, which I already have, and I already consider myself quite blessed for having one. With Patreon, you can contribute to that goal and also get some decent and some really cool rewards in return. So if you check out my Patreon profile, you will find that on the right-hand side, there are a lot of rewards that I set up. And they can go from, you know, just simple gaming session with me and some other community members, or they can go to very individualized, very personal rewards, like me dropping a message for you, or me recording an audio clip of your choice, of your liking, and then sending it over to you, or just one-on-one sessions, coaching sessions for Heroes of the Storm, for example. There's a lot of things that I thought about, and there's a lot of goals as well that you can check out on the left-hand side on your monitor. A lot of cool goals that I want to fulfill eventually, you know, longer stream times, new shows, maybe even creating or pimping up my own studio, which is still very humble at the very moment. But all these things can be achieved through the Patreon, so I would be very happy if you decided to give it a chance or to just give it a first look. And if you decide, well, that's cool, I might want to give it a try, just drop a few dollars on Kendrick to help him out in his daily endeavors, then so be it. And even if you decide, hey, no, that's not really my cup of tea, I would rather spend money otherwise, that's totally fine. Like, you really don't have to feel bad for not doing it. I can totally understand it. And yeah, so that's basically it. No rush, you can cancel the Patreon support at any given moment as well. And once again, as a little bit of a last statement, because the video's getting a little bit long, isn't it? Your support means a lot to me. And even if you don't, you know, support me financially, your attention and your viewership is more than I could ask for. Like, you watching a stream, watching a video, being even a sub on stream, or maybe even considering a Patreon support, that's more than I could have ever asked for and hoped for in the first place. So thank you very much for your attention, guys. Yeah, hope you had a good time watching the video. Anyway, see you guys soon on YouTube. And if you haven't done so, by the way, if you're a YouTube viewer and you haven't really, you know, checked out my Twitch ever, then of course Sylvanas is never going to visit you at night, because that privilege only applies to the Twitch viewers. Just kidding, of course, I can arrange something for you totally. No, you can definitely check it out, twitch.tv/KendrickSwish. I'm usually streaming a lot of Heroes of the Storm, doing viewer games, Hero League adventures, currently in Master/Grandmaster, but also other games in the near future will be played extensively on the Twitch. So thank you very much for your attention. See you on the next one, guys.